Hi guys, welcome back to Daniel's Tech World here on YouTube. My name is Daniel Rosehill, and for this video today I want to compare a few common budget-friendly microphones, one after the other. Now, I've done a few videos so far where I compare the microphones that I've actually been using for the past year, both for producing my YouTube channel as well as for doing corporate videography work. And these tend to be really basic microphones simply because I'm at an early stage in my career and that's what I can afford. So I've actually done comparisons of these mics before, but I did kind of very quick samples. And what I thought I'd do a little bit differently for this video is because I think it's hard when you're trying to notice the kind of fine differences between microphones to really appreciate that from like a 20-second audio sample, which is what I did. So what I'm actually going to be doing for this video is giving a little bit more of an audio sample. Now, I know this video is not going to be of interest to anyone except people looking at purchasing one of these microphones or trying to evaluate between one and the other. So if you are in the market for the PGA-48 from Shure, the Samson Q2U, or the Roe Reporter, this video will probably be useful. If you're not looking at buying one of these microphones, you probably haven't clicked into the video. But because that's who this video is for, I will put timestamps to the samples in the description. So if you want to jump forward to hear what the Samson sounds like and the Roe Reporter sounds like, go ahead. What you're listening to at the moment is the Shure PGA-48, and unlike the last time I did a comparison, I have this, as you can see, up on a microphone stand, which should eliminate handling noise, and that should actually give us a more fair evaluation because the Shure PGA-48 and the Samson Q2U are both more intended as streaming microphones, vocal microphones for living on a mic stand. So there not a lot of thought has gone into either microphone for suppressing handling noise. The Shure SM58, classic stage microphone, much better handling noise performance from everything I've read. The Roe Reporter is clearly intended as a roaming reporter's microphone. The reason I'm going to put these all up on the mic stands is so we can really see how they perform sort of head to head. So what I'm going to do for each microphone, I'm going to read 2 or 3 pages of this book called On Impact, A Guide to the Impact Revolution. It's written by the guy I work for, Sir Ronald Cohen. It's a great book. I've done a full reading of it before. Excuse me. And I've chosen it as the book for this sample simply because I don't have a copyright issue with using the material. So without further ado, we are listening to the Shure PGA-48, which is a budget microphone in Shure's range, but Shure tend to produce very good and reliable microphones. So let's jump into the red reading sample. Impact is the measure of an action's benefit to society and the planet. We must shift it to the center of our consciousness. What kind of world do we want to live in? That's the question confronting all of us today. Consumers, employees, pension savers, philanthropists, investors, entrepreneurs, social sector organizations, and big company leaders. The first wave of the tech revolution has come and gone. Our lives have been transformed. And yet, nations are still racked by economic inequality, social strife, and environmental catastrophe. It's time for us to see the writing on the wall. Things cannot continue as they are. Governments unaided do not have the means to cope with the social and environmental challenges we face. They are also not well positioned to develop innovative approaches to tackling such challenges, a process that inevitably involves risky investment, trial and error, and the certainty of occasional failure. All right, so what I will do is read the same page and a half from this book for all the microphones so that you can get we can get an accurate sound comparison. So this was the Shure PGA-48. I'm going to now stop the video and hook up the Samson Q2U, and we will be able to hear the different sound quality. Same conditions. I'm not going to do any normalization in post-production here. It's all as it was recorded into the camcorder and as it came off the camcorder. So we should get an accurate head-to-head sound comparison. Okay, so we have swapped over to the Samson Q2U. It's not the most wonderful shock mount system that we have going on here. I believe I have a microphone clip for this microphone somewhere in the depth of my audio closet. But it is mounted and it should be good enough for us to hear. Now, I did mention just in the last video that this is using automatic gain control. I did mention that I won't be doing any post processing or post production on the audio levels, including applying even a normalization effect. So because we should be getting all that stuff through automatic gain control on the camcorder. So as you heard, is as the basic what the performance looked like after automatic gain control on the Canon XA40 Pro camcorder. All right, so I'll just speak for just one more minute about the Samson Q2U, which we've moved over from the Shure PGA-48. Personally, when I did the last audio comparison, I thought that this was my favorite microphone. It has emerged as a Shure SM7B Challenger, apparently, depending on how you feel about it. Now, naturally, everyone's voice is going to sound different in a microphone. My voice personally tends to sound a little bit nasally because I suffer from seasonal allergies. So when I'm looking for a microphone, I like to find something that makes me sound a little bit less trebly and is a little bit more flattering to my voice. So picking up more of the bass tones and less of the highlights. And I think the Samson Q2U did a better job the last time I listened to it versus the Shure PGA 48. But of course, as I mentioned, these are both, it's the microphones look quite similar. Actually, the Samson Q2U is a bit bigger. The Roe Reporter looks like it's the same microphone family, but it is engineered a bit differently as a outdoor reporting microphone. So it will be interesting to hear how it performs on a audio stand. All right, so let's go ahead now and read our sample as before. Impact is the measure of an action's benefit to society and the planet. We must shift it to the center of our consciousness. What kind of world do we want to live in? That's the question confronting all of us today. Consumers, employees, pension savers, philanthropists, investors, entrepreneurs, social sector organizations, and big company leaders. The first wave of the tech revolution has come and gone. Our lives have been transformed. And yet nations are still racked by economic inequality, social strife, and environmental catastrophe. It's time for us to see the writing on the wall. Things cannot continue as they are. Governments unaided do not have the means to cope with the social and environmental challenges we face. They are also not well positioned to develop innovative approaches to tackling such challenges, a process that inevitably involves risky investment, trial and error, and the certainty of occasional failure. Philanthropy, while helpful, does not offer a scalable solution. It can only do so much to assist governments, as philanthropic donations are small relative to government expenditure, amounting to less than 5% of government expenditure on health and education alone. All right, so I think that was a decent enough sample there with the Samson Q2U. And last but not least, we're going to move over to the Roe Reporter microphone to hear how it sounds in comparison. All right, so I've now swapped over to the Roe Reporter microphone. This little test here reminds me why it's good to have a few mic clips in your bag, because it feels a little bit precarious. I'm using the mic clip from the Shure PGA-48. It's kind of like leaning towards the edge there. It's hopefully not going to fall out during the course of this test. But if it wasn't a test, I would certainly be looking into there's probably a mic clip you can find that is sized or closed off. Or you can, of course, use a shock mount. You don't generally want to have your microphone falling off during a recording. Although, if the Roe Reporter is truly a interview mic, it should, like the Shure microphones, be pretty tough and hardy. If it was not tough and hardy, I would say it's probably not the best candidate for the type of work it's supposed to do. I'm just going to actually adjust it a tiny bit here so that I'm a little bit more on axis. to give a fair comparison. And it's a long microphone. It's longer than the others. I don't know if the extra length is due to anything technical or if it's just metal in order to make it easier to hold out as a reporter microphone. Now, the Roe Reporter, which I'm speaking into, as well as the PGA-48, as well as the Samson Q2U, should all be balanced for vocal performance. So minus the different attention to detail in terms of handling noise, it should still be a decent enough sort of commonality between the microphones that I think this test should be fair and hopefully revealing. It'd be interesting now to hear this versus Samson Q2U, because I feel like I get more nasally and trebly on this microphone, even though the wind performance on this microphone is great. I've been very, very impressed. And the built-in plosive filtering. So certainly for that outdoor application, if I had to choose one of these three microphones for reporting outdoors or for interviews, this one every time, 100%. For indoor, I would probably say the Samson Q2U will be my favorite, but you can be the judge and hear how they differ. So let's go now with the sample from Impact, and we're going to read the same bit to compare like with like. Impact is the measure of an action's benefit to society and the planet. We must shift it to the center of our consciousness. What kind of world do we want to live in? That's the question confronting all of us today. Consumers, employees, pension savers, philanthropists, investors, entrepreneurs, social sector organizations, and big company leaders. The first wave of the tech revolution has come and gone. Our lives have been transformed, and yet nations are still racked by economic inequality, social strife, and environmental catastrophe. It's time for us to see the writing on the wall. Things cannot continue as they are. Governments unaided do not have the means to cope with the social and environmental challenges we face. They are also not well positioned to develop innovative approaches to tackling such challenges, a process that inevitably requires risky investment, trial and error, and the certainty of occasional failure. Philanthropy, while helpful, does not offer a scalable solution. It can only do so much to assist governments, as philanthropic donations are small relative to government expenditure, amounting to less than 5% of government expenditure on health and education alone. All right, enough of on Impact. It's a pretty dense text, but it is a good read, very good read, in fact, for those looking for a summary about impact investing and what the impact revolution is about. But let's stay on the topic of microphones for the moment. So I hope that comparison was useful if you're looking at picking up one of these three microphones, the PGA-48, the Roe Reporter, or the Samson Q2U, probably the most famous of the three microphones. I hope it's been revealing as to how they sound in terms of indoor studio performance. Note, of course, this is not a sound-treated environment, but I am speaking within 2 or 3 centimeters to them. So through a proximity effect, I'm trying my best to make the acoustics I have at my disposal sound as good as possible. If you want to get more videos about microphone reviews, tech reviews, Ubuntu Linux, OBS, and the other tech subjects I upload to YouTube, do consider subscribing to this channel. And if you want to get more videos from me in general, I also have a more active main channel on YouTube, which is simply called Daniel Rosehill. Thank you for watching. Good luck with your microphone and audio adventures.